Good morning, and I don't know if it's morning when you're watching this, but good morning because it's morning here. And welcome to Stephanie Young's office. That's what's going on back here behind us. Today happens to be Cinco de Mayo, and so to start off this episode, we're going to take a drink of our macarita.
Macarita. It's not a margarita. We are at school.
Because we're on.
This is a mocktail. It's a macarita. So cheers to Happy Cinco de Mayo to you.
Right, I'm gonna spill it. Happy Cinco de Feliz de Cinco. I don't know how
to say it. For all those who celebrate, we say hello out there, and after 5 p.m. enjoy your not mocktails.
Right, your real margaritas with the real
salt and the real sugar. Yeah, this is just sugar. This is sugar-free strawberry lemonade, not quite the same effect.
Right, now this is not really the topic that we're going to talk about today, but okay, on margaritas, do you like the salt on the?
I don't either. No, but it's too salty for me. I don't.
So most people I talk to, I don't think they like the salt. So I guess it's just tradition.
I think it's tradition, and it makes it too salty for me, and so I might just take like one little bit of the salt.
Is it because you're salty enough?
I'm salty enough as it is, and so then I just keep drinking out of that one little spot where there's no more salt left, and then the salt just
you get that all knocked off. And
now you put a little sugar on the rim, and that's a totally different story. But
I like
that's another story, and that's another holiday, I'm sure. I don't know what holiday it would be.
Well, I don't know.
International Candy Day.
Any day is good.
Any day is a good day for sugar around the rim of your glass, for sure.
Right. So my regular drink is, of course, a sweet tea from Chick-fil-A. You, however, exercise great restraint and have an unsweet tea, which is really just dirty water.
I mean, it is not just dirty water. No, I love unsweet tea. I don't really drink sweet drinks, and so when you ask me about margaritas, I don't really drink a lot of sweet drinks anyway. So anyway, I don't like drinking my calories, Dr. Owings.
I love it. I frequently go for a smoothie at Andy's. Some people call them a milkshake.
That's a milkshake.
But it sounds better when you call it a smoothie.
You could put a little protein powder in that and mix it up, and then you would have yourself like a little peanut butter protein shake from Andy's.
It'd be like a malt then at that point. So I'll have to ask them if they could help me out on that.
Just zhuzh it up a little.
Right. So Stephanie is a principal in a district here in a school here in Springfield, and I'm going to let you kind of give us your 60-second biography. Tell us a little bit about where you work and how you came to be here.
For sure. So I work at Hickory Hills. We are a K-8 building here in Springfield. This is my first year. This is my 19th year as a school principal, but it's my first year here at Hickory. I spent 11 years as the principal at an elementary school in Springfield called Delaware. I spent 7 years as the principal of Truman Elementary, which is also in Springfield. And then I taught before that inside Springfield, and I taught before that outside of Springfield.
Where did you work outside of Springfield?
Highlandville, in the Highlandville Spokane School District. You bet.
How long ago was that?
24 years ago. Like 24, 25, and 26 years ago.
Did you work with Lee Carter?
I did.
Lee Carter and I worked together at Fordland.
Yes.
I started out at Fordland. I don't know if I've told you all that.
No, and my daughter just signed a teaching contract
I know.
to teach secondary history in Fordland. So it's full circle and small world all at the same time.
Is your daughter a traditional education student?
She sure
My son also wants to teach secondary history if anybody has a position, but he's not a traditional, he's a history major. And so he has no experience managing kids other than his siblings. And that never worked out.
I mean, he probably thinks it worked out. Yes, my daughter is graduating Missouri State this week on Friday, depending on when you're watching this. And so I know we'll probably see each other there. I don't know. It's a big place. My daughter graduates at 1 o'clock. What time is yours?
Same.
1 o'clock. So because she's a history major, but you have to have a history major with the emphasis in secondary education or something like that. So, she's traditional. She did her student teaching in Ozark and had a great time, and she loves the idea of being in a school district that is a 4-day a week school district.
Portland is.
It is, and that's because she's a new mom and is having a crisis of how could I possibly let anybody watch my child in daycare, and so doing it 4 days a week instead of 5 days a week makes her feel better. So.
You know, the number of graduates or number of new teachers that go through a traditional program is about 50%, and about 50% who don't. And I heard that statistic and I was like, I cannot even believe that. And
that makes me feel very interested, just because, I mean, in one way, I sit here and say to myself, man, that's so tough, because we need teachers in our classrooms that have been through these traditional programs, right? Who they have taken, child psychology classes and classes on methods and classroom management and reading strategies. But then on the other hand, I think about how many amazing people I know out there that kind of get to their point in life and they say, I can't work in a cubicle anymore. I do not want to be in the business world anymore. What I really want is to make a difference in the lives of kids. I want to be a teacher. I want to give back. I had amazing teachers and I didn't know this was my calling back then. So how do I do that? And so, and especially with the teacher shortage, I mean, I would rather take a non-traditional teacher than have a position go unfilled or go empty for a long time.
Well, and I would not disagree that kids are hard nowadays. I mean, kids are hard, but some of it has to be that the people coming in maybe haven't had the same level of training. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, you get them in good schools with good mentors and good leaders that can hopefully provide that support to them and can really identify, here's an area that I think that you can grow in. And then where can I send you? Who can I let you watch? Who can I connect you with a mentor? So I think then that becomes our job, that if we're going to accept in our schools this broad range of teachers with different experiences, then we've got to be ready to arm them and equip them with the tools that they need.
Right. Missouri Teacher Development System.
I've heard of it.
It's a good resource for you guys.
Yeah, so, I'm gonna turn that walkie-talkie off. Sorry there in the morning announcements, and that you guys don't want to know.
Emergency. So that's a little bit about you. I have a couple of things beforehand, but then we're going to get to your Mount Rushmore. So a joke of the day. How do you make a Kleenex dance? You put a little boogie in it.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
We do a joke of the day at school on our announcements. We do. We have little under 1,000 kids here at Hickory, K-8, and this year we are doing announcements by Zoom, kindergarten through 8th grade, and we do a joke of the day, which is a tradition that wasn't started by me. I think it was started by the previous principal that was here. And so we did that one around Halloween time, because it kind of has a Halloween vibe with the boogie and the So there you go.
So I used to do announcements also. That's how this kind of got started. And I also had a joke today. I also had like a trivia question. And sometimes my trivia question would be like map-ish, like, you have to do kind of a map, or I would make them do like a Venn diagram or something, which is not a typical trivia question. But I have since morphed into weird facts. And did you know that the Eiffel Tower was supposed to be in Barcelona, Spain?
I did not know that.
Yep. But the Spanish people thought it was too ugly. And so he pitched it to the French. And even though they weren't in love with it, they decided to go ahead and do it. And now everybody wants to go there and see it. My sister actually just was there.
Yeah.
So.
They want to go see it. They want to go to the top. They want to propose to somebody from the top. I've seen people who do these very well planned out videos. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm having for dinner, cooking for dinner tonight. And there are people out there planning engagement moments at the top of the Eiffel Tower. So, I've never been to France. I've actually only been to Mexico. My passport has just one stamp in it. But
I have been to a couple places.
In retirement, maybe I will have the opportunity to get a few
or
stamps.
Just go to Las Vegas. They've got one there.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a Statue of Liberty. You could get both at the same time.
Now we're thinking. There surely is a conference.
There are conferences
that we can pick up and go to. Okay.
And what happens there?
What happens in Vegas stays in. Hey, we're going to cheers to that too.
Oh yeah.
When we're clean from.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
There you go.
And what happens at Hickory Hills stays.
Oh, yes. Better be careful about getting that started.
All right.
Okay.
What's your Mount Rushmore? So an edgy hero, a colleague, a mentor, and a educator.
Okay, so an edu hero for me, I think, would be Luis Cruz. There's also a baseball player named Luis Cruz. It's not the same person.
I know which one you're thinking
for
of.
sure. Luis Cruz really talks about culture and climate, and he is a part of the PLC movement through Solution Tree, and I've heard him speak on multiple occasions. And I got to tell you, the first time I ever heard him speak was at the DESE Leadership Academy, and I just immediately fell in love with my edu hero and said he's my spirit animal.
Yeah. Great message.
Absolutely, and just talks about the importance of culture, that you can't build anything in your building until you address culture, or once you've addressed it and you're building it, until you really get that soil going the way it needs to go. So I'm hi, welcome back. And so he's my edu hero. One colleague I would have to say is my dear pal Jen Webb. Jen, if you're watching, I'm sure you are, Jen. Hey, Jen.
Nobody really watches this, but
I went through and watched several.
If Jen watches, then Jen, you need to be on next.
Yes,
that would be
sign
fun.
up. It would be so much fun.
Yeah.
So Jen Webb, I would say, would definitely be on my Mount Rushmore. Jen and I actually went like elementary through college together.
What?
For sure. And we grew up together. We had the same teenage job, sleepovers at each other's houses.
I did not know this.
This is a true story. So Jen and I, we were in elementary. So we first met when she's a year younger than me, when she was in first grade and I was in second grade, and we were in a first-second split class at Pleasant View. Shout out, go Blue Jays. And so we had an amazing teacher. And then from then, we were just as close of friends as could be. And we used to spend the night at each other's houses. I'd go over and hang out there, and her parents, Larry and Mary, would feed me, Larry and Mary. And then her dad he would be upstairs and we would be too loud downstairs, and he would yell at us from the top of the stairs. And
guilty of doing the same
he would say, girls, don't make me come down there. So I can just hear Larry Webb in the back of my brain. And so we ended up going to college together at Drury. We taught. I was at Jeffries, she's been at Jeffries, she was at Bowerman, I was at Bowerman, but the end pinnacle for us together, well, not the end, but the middle, was that she and I actually got to teach across the hall from each other at Pershing. Can you imagine the two of us across the hall from one another at Pershing? And so we did that for 4 years, and then I moved into a leadership role, and a year later she moved into a leadership role. So we literally have had these absolute parallel bestie for the restie kind of growing, and we literally have grown as people and grown as leaders together.
So that's even more than a colleague. I mean, that's lifelong.
That is a lifelong.
And it says right here, she's a legend.
She is a legend.
She is a legend. She is the I don't know, just kind of
coordinator of customer service.
Yeah, she's the defaulto auctioneer for MAESB.
That's true. So if you've been to MAESB, anytime recently you've seen her. She's great.
One mentor.
So this would be no surprise for me to say that our pal Jay Anderson would fall on my Mount Rushmore. I have watched I think all of your episodes now of the morning announcements.
And how many times does he show up?
He is mentioned over and over and over again. And so I can't break this streak. And so Dr. Anderson, for many of us, is a mentor, but he actually was the principal at Truman, and he was leaving Truman when I came in to take over Truman after him. And so that's
where
I had to follow him. Don't ever follow Jay Anderson, like just a word of advice. But he is also legitimately a legend in this field because he mentors people with care and grace and compassion and understanding. And he was my executive director in Springfield Schools for many years. And so, and now he's just doing great work up at MAESB.
He is one of the main reasons I wanted to come work in Springfield.
For sure.
And it lasted a year and he left.
He's good at recruiting. But you know, he laid the groundwork for you to come to Springfield. So very good.
All right, non-educator.
So I went a little off the beaten path for this one, and a lot of your other announcements episodes, it has been people like spouses and parents and kids. And while I am, yes, absolutely. And while those are all amazing, and I could list those as well, I would tell you that I really feel like my non-educator would be my caseworker. I grew up in the foster system and spent a lot of time in foster homes. And throughout that time, from beginning to end, I had one caseworker, and her name was Anne. And she was my voice, and she was my advocate. And I would see her coming up for a visit, and I just thought the world of her. And she was with me until I landed in my forever home and got my adoption day, and I'll never forget it. And she bought me a really great book, and that's a treasure that I will have forever and ever. And so she's no longer here. She's in heaven, I am sure, just taking care of all of the people up there too, the way she took care of me. So
Here's to Ann.
Here's to Ann. Cheers to Ann. I
And
appreciate
to Jay and Jen.
And Jay and Jen.
And Louise Cruz.
Louise Cruz.
Wherever you are. I'm sure you're watching.
I hope you watch. I hope you tune in. That's for sure.
I've actually met Louise Cruz. He did a workshop in Poplar Bluff. When I was there, we had him come in, and I have a great selfie of he and I. I'm sure he remembers it. It was probably a highlight of his career.
Highlight of his career.
So yeah.
Sure.
All right. So Ms. Young, what was the weirdest thing that has ever happened to you as a principal?
Man, a few years ago, we had a student who had a necklace, and it was a necklace that appeared to have sand in it.
Mm-hmm.
It turns out that was the ashes of the grandmother. And once the teacher found that out, was, just wanted to be extra cautious for this kiddo. And so you take a necklace like that, that's glass, and you take it with you to recess, and it has the opportunity to get broken really quickly. Yeah. So the student was going to take the necklace off. It got swiped off of a desk, it broke, and then we had grandma's ashes all over the floor. And we didn't know what to do, because we're like, this isn't just like a bunch of beads that went everywhere that we say sayonara to that bracelet or to that necklace. So we literally just scooped up grandma's ashes.
And if this is in a classroom, you're also getting some pencil shaving,
just a little bit of dirt from the playground, a little bit of everything.
Grandma and more.
And then some. And so everything got scooped up the best we could, and we put it in an envelope, and we sealed that envelope shut with tape. With a note that just said, we are so sorry that the necklace got broken, and that we were sending grandma home, and that maybe grandma should stay home, and that it's a very sweet sentiment to want to wear your loved one. Like, I don't have any issue with that, but at school, when you are like 7, is probably not the place for that necklace to
So if you had grandma broken on the floor on your bingo card, good job.
You win.
All right.
That's right.
Hey, quote of the day: everything a leader does or does not do influences culture. And that's from Rose Isaiah. Have you ever heard Rose Isaiah speak?
Nope.
I think I've heard her once.
But I like that.
And
I really like that idea of what you do not do. Because what you allow and you don't take care of becomes accepted by everyone.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. So, my goal is 15 minutes. We're already at 17.
Oh, mercy. Okay.
We're gonna talk a little bit about consistency and what it means to be a consistent leader, and why that would be important. So I always try to do 3 things. What is it? What does it look like? And how can I do it as a leader? So what is it?
I think that consistency for me is being the same person every single day when I come to work. And I know that we automatically know about how important consistency is for our students, right? We adopt these predictable routines and structures, procedures, expectations, and we say, every time you do this, this will happen. Or every time, when that bell rings, this is what your schedule looks like from here to here. You go to PE every week on Tuesday and Thursday, right? Like, we build that in for our students. But I really feel like it's so important for us to be reminded about how important consistency is for us as leaders when we're leading the adult learners in our system as well, whatever that looks like, in your building, in your district, whatever it is. That builds trust. That they can know that I'm going to be the same person every single day at school. I'm going to react the same way, good or bad. There may be a celebration every single time something happens, or there may be a tough conversation every single time something happens. But that consistency creates stability, and we talk about the need for stability for our students, but our adults really crave that same stability from us. And as long as we are unwavering, then we are being a role model and setting that expectation for them to be also stable and consistent in their classrooms.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the notion of building trust is so important between a leader and staff, and you having the same consistent reactions. And the fact that when you do have that difficult conversation, they know that you're still good afterwards because you have been consistent in how you've handled things. That's super important. The Google says consistency in leadership means consistently adhering to one's stated values,
Mm-hmm.
principles, and approach over time, even under pressure. So
There's no pressure in this job.
yeah. Did you say you have like 1,000 kids?
Little under, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of kids. So, as a leader, what does it look like in your everyday to be consistent?
Yeah. So for me, and as a part of the show notes here, I wrote that I lead others the way that I like to be led. Like I like consistency in my leaders. Not that I want to or need to know every step that they are making, but I like to know that they're going to react in the same way, or that their expectations of me don't change based on whether it's a Monday or a Friday, and their expectations of me don't change based on whether it's September or it's May, right? And so I think the other thing that I wrote down that I sent you is that I do not like to be blindsided, and I live by that as a mantra, that I will over communicate until I'm blue in the face, but that way every single person feels like they are in the know, they are armed with the information that they need, and I feel like when I have information that I need, then I can make sound and quality decisions for my building, for my team, for my students. And it's the same way with the teachers. If I'm giving them the information that they need, then they can lead soundly in their classrooms. And so really, what does it look like? I just think about the leadership qualities that I admire in my leaders, and then try to emulate that for my staff.
Consistency and communication is what it sounds like.
Yes, that's a big one for sure. And not just communication, in my behavior too,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But yes, it starts with communication.
I don't know how these two are connected, but when you picked the topic of consistency to talk about, I was reminded of something a person told me a long time ago, is that calm is contagious, and they're not connected, but they're kind of connected. And like, when things are going crazy at school, as they sometimes do, if you are calm is contagious. And so your people get that consistency from you that, oh, it's going to be okay. Right. Your reactions, your behaviors are consistent, and helps calm everything else.
I agree. I say to my staff all the time, you are allowed to freak out when I freak out.
Right.
And I don't freak out, right? Even that storm.
She doesn't freak out.
I don't freak out. Yeah. But even that storm that blew through, right? Like I had a team in that we were working on master schedule, and the elementary's down here doing their thing, and then suddenly the tornado sirens are going off. Like all of our phones are making that noise, and the tornado sirens are going off. And it was just important to me that I needed to be the calm in that literal storm, because I don't need them to see me fretting and worrying. We have practiced this over and over. There's a reason why we practice this. Our kids know what to do. Our teachers know what to do. This isn't the time for me to flip out just because the skies were turning a little icky. So for sure.
All right. So how do you do it? We know what it looks like. How can you be a consistent leader?
I want my actions to always go back to core values. What I believe in, and the way that I act, I want them to know that I'm committed to my values as a leader, to our school, what we value, our mission, our vision, our values, what our district, believes in, and what we're trying to do district-wide for 25,000 students. And so for me, how do I do it? I want to be consistent for them. I want to model that consistency for them, and I want to be the exact same leader every single day of the week. You don't get bad mood Stephanie one day, and then flying high on cloud nine Stephanie the next day. I need to be the
Margarita
same.
Stephanie.
Or Margarita Stephanie.
That's
right. No, it's Monday night. I can't. It's a
later,
Monday. Right.
Later.
That's maybe next weekend. Yeah. But I need to make sure, because I want my teachers to be the exact same person for their students. Of course we grow. Of course we evolve. But we can't have really amazing teaching some days of the week and really crummy teaching some days. Like we just don't have time for that. And everybody will have an off day now and then. But the reality is that we need to be consistent for our students. And so it's like my teachers are like my students, right? So I get to be that consistent force in their life as well.
Yeah. So strong core beliefs, and just make sure that those guide your decisions and everything you do, and stay the course. Stay the course.
Yeah, I'll toast to that.
Yeah.
Toast to that. Stay the course.
Hold the line. All right. So, it has been great visiting with you today.
Me too.
If you have talked about anybody in here, we'll try to tag them in it. We'll definitely tag Jen Webb,
Jen Webb for sure.
And the Dr. Jay Anderson.
Yes. You should tag Luis Cruz too.
I'm not Facebook friends with him, but on the Twitter,
Okay.
I can put it out on Twitter and we can tag.
He'll be like, who are these fools?
Yeah. He'll be like, I did a selfie with that guy.
For sure.
I don't remember that. So, all right. At the end of the announcements, I try to launch us with 3 things. You have value, you have impact, what you're doing matters. I'm still not sold on that. I really just basically, as leaders, we appreciate you and we appreciate what you do.
We know how hard that job is every day, right?
Yep.
But it gets better and better every day too.
Yep.
I love it.
All right. And
I'm gonna put my glasses on for one last toast. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you, Dr. Owings. Cheers.